Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer, is here. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
Anything to report from the desk across the room? That's what I'm calling
Nothing to report here.
All right, nothing reporting over there. Anything to report from across the console table?
Well, we're going to be doing a meetup at Cafe Da Vinci, July 29th.
Yes, coming to DeLand, that's my origin spot. That's my place of birth.
True Phonic, Little Stranger are performing. It's a free show. We'll be there around 8:30 to hang out with some BDMs.
Get there a little early, have a couple beers, wait for True Phonic, wait for Little Stranger.
All free. So if you're around the DeLand area, and of course the legendary Cafe Da Vinci has been there forever, come by and hang out.
Come to the place where, before different owners, come to the place where when I was young, I drank beer and wasn't old enough and smoked joints and tried to grab ass.
Yeah. Well, it was the 80s, so it was fun.
It was, that hurts. That really, you don't have to do that.
So Jeff Jones is here. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So Jeff, we haven't seen you in a bit. Tell us what you've been up to, because he's sitting next to you.
He shifted gears. Have we seen you? This is the first time you've been here post-pandemic?
Yeah.
So 2 years. And Jeff decides to
like everybody else during the pandemic, you find a hobby and you get fat. So
you didn't get fat. You look good.
Oh, no.
You look about the same.
You're insulting me now.
No,
but I thought I looked better before.
That is insulting.
That's my new thing. That is my new thing. I was thinking about this last night. My new thing on people's weight loss pictures is to go in and say, "You looked better before." They love that. They love it.
Plastic surgery photos.
I do it for all the photos. You know, if they get plastic surgery, weight loss, even if you're bleaching your skin, those can be problematic.
Yeah, you went with that nose?
Yeah, exactly. Well, look at mine.
So
any nose is better than this schnoz.
So, Jeff, what have you been up to?
I discovered I have a new hobby, and I got bored, and I was at home, like we all were. So I decorate my house in like a lot of Disney villain masks, like I bought in the 80s at the parks.
Okay.
And I had them just hanging on the wall, and I was like, well, it'd be fun to add some other ones I don't have. So I decided, well, let me order some clay online and just play around with sculpting clay. And
had you had any
sculpting?
Clay. Is this your first clay purchase?
Yeah. It was in like last year. I was like, let me just do this and see what I can
order
do.
some supplies, have them shipped to my door.
But you must have known that you could do this, right? Because
I knew this was going to make him mad.
Like I never,
because it's like you watch this guy and you never know that they're doing any type of like sculpting or any type of art. Like we knew you were an artist. We knew you were a visual artist as far as writing. We knew that you could put on a musical, a play, any type of.
Yeah, and I used to build sets and props for that kind of stuff too. So I did
crafty.
Make stuff. At Christmas, I would go overboard outside of my house in Christmas decorations. I would make my own stuff outside too. So I could make stuff, and I can build stuff.
But sculpting seems like a whole different. Like there's one thing of like making a prop or decorating your house or making something out of wood or some other materials. But like sculpting seems like a specific talent that only certain people inherently have. Like I think it's hard to even learn how to do that.
I think that you're being able to look at things and see proportion. And plus, I want to give a little bit of background of how we know Jeff. We know Jeff from multiple Fringe shows. Before that, just independent shows that you would put on that are just wildly funny, crazy, outrageous comedies. The Little Miss Parliament House is probably the one that I'm ticking the boxes here right now.
Animatronicans.
And the Animatronicans, but I mean, these are some of the
stand up for 15 years.
Yeah, and a stand up comedian for he's been doing it for forever.
It's hard to say when you're really good at so many things.
No, seriously,
how do you pick one?
Well, but this is something that are people like Tom and I, that when they started seeing you create these sculptures, were they like just like us, like, oh my God, where'd this come from?
Oh, I was the same way.
Really?
Yeah.
So you buy this clay, you Amazon it to the door, and then who's the first person or creature you decide?
I did a Jafar from Aladdin.
Okay.
Just to play around with that, because he had an interesting face. And I go by looking at faces and characters that have an interesting face.
Okay.
Because I think it's more fun. And nothing I do is realistic looking. It's all kind of cartoonish. Even the real people.
It's fun though.
Are kind of so I kind of came up with ideas like 3-dimensional caricatures of people. in characters and stuff because I don't go for exactly the same look.
So sort of like
But-
the dude holding his wife on a surfboard that
Exactly.
you got airbrushed at Universal,
Exactly.
and you do that, but with it seems like that would take more clay than a regular because it's more crazy.
No, it's but you don't have to get your proportions exactly right, and you don't have to go for perfection. You don't have to go for symmetry. It can be a little off. It can be a little weird. It can be a little fun.
Okay, so you
And
started doing Jafar.
I started doing Jafar, and then I kind of liked it, and I would, I get different clays to figure out which ones I like and try different materials, and then I just started doing another one, and then I did another one, and then somebody messaged me and was like, "Hey, I saw you're selling this stuff." I'm like, "I'm not selling it, but if you want it," and it's like, but he bought like a house in Kissimmee that he was turning into a vacation rental that was all theme park Disney themed.
A lot of people are doing that. Yeah.
Those are big.
The Brazilians love
Jackpot.
those. Yeah.
So
I
I
love
know.
those.
Yeah.
My house is that.
Well, the Brazilians love them more.
dare
just
you.
based on numbers.
So we started I started having to do more, and then people were messaging me about, "Oh, we like custom stuff," and so now it's sort of gotten to a point where I've redone some of the ones I've done originally, and they just got better. So
Give us the listeners and ourselves like a rundown of like the ones that you've done, just to give them an idea of
Well,
some
I
of the
tried to
characters.
do all different demographics. I first started out with just Disney, which is cartoony and fun,
Sure.
and that's fine. But I'm like, well, a lot of the people I get messages from are either Disney fans,
Yeah.
comic book fans, sci-fi fans, horror fans.
Like the Cruella de Vil, I love.
Cruella de
But
Vil-
I used to rescue Dalmatian, so I see that when it speaks to me. I'm
So
like,
I
oh
did-
man,
I
that's
did-
terrifying.
I did the Disney villains, and then I was like, well, let me try something different here. And I think the first one I did that was not a Disney one, as I did the Joker from Batman. So
That's cool.
But I kind of was like, which one do I do? Because there's how many versions of the Joker
Yeah.
from Batman? So I kind of I loved the old Adam West 1960s TV show.
Who was that,
Batman.
Burgess Meredith?
That was Cesar Romero.
Caesar Romero.
And
yeah.
so, but I do like the darker looking comic-y book version of the Joker too. So I'm like, well, let me just combine a bunch of them together and do like a darker, crazier looking Joker.
Do
but
your own
still
Joker.
he still has some Cesar Romero. He even has a little bit of a fake of the mustache covered under the makeup. So it just sort of kept going. And then somebody asked me to do Muppets, so I did Statler and Waldorf for the
Those are
Fringe
great.
Festival. and
They're
those turned out-
great.
And then I had a custom order for Miss Piggy, so I said that. And then I was like, well, let me try to do something scary to get the horror people involved. So I did Norman Bates, which is here sort of as Norman Bates dressed as his mom.
It's
too.
so good, man.
And I painted him in black and white because the movie's in black
And
and
it
white.
works so well too, yeah. And the only standout, and I don't know if you can see it on our tiny cameras here, but the only splash of color, pun intended, is blood.
There's a little bit of blood on
A little
the
bit of blood. It's well done, man.
Little
Really,
bit of blood.
Yeah, it's so good.
And he actually, until somebody decides, and I've got a few people who've asked me about it, but I'm running out of wall space in my house because I can only hang so many before somebody comes and gets them or I have to ship them out.
Yeah.
So for this one, I'm like, well, it would be the best place to obviously display Norman Bates dressed as his mom with a knife in his hand is in the bathroom. So he's literally in my guest room bathroom right next to the shower.
That's fantastic.
That won't scare your guests.
Yeah.
He's hanging above the toilet, so when you stand to pee, it's your direct
Oh, I love
eye
that.
contact.
I love that.
Stare down.
Yeah.
Well, we have a crazy
so-
bathroom, and I like looking around and seeing cool stuff. Yeah, I think that's fun.
Well,
We have Butler in our
I
bathroom
know.
still. We got to get rid of that thing.
Maybe we
right?
could get a
Yeah.
clay butler in there.
What also scares you for the first dozen times you walk
Yeah.
in there
Oh!
until your brain gets used to the knowing that some human-like figure is in the dark bathroom and you turn the lights on. You're like, oh! And weird. Your brain acclimates to it, and then you don't notice anymore.
Yeah.
Let's talk clay for a second, because clay is weird in the fact that they still use clay for auto manufacturers and stuff like that, where they'll they'll release a design for the new 2025 Ford Festiva or whatever, and then here's a 1/18th scale clay version
Yeah,
of
there's some
the.
guy in there wet sanding
Yeah.
it slowly,
But,
as they blow smoke over the top of it to show you how aerodynamic it is.
But then I always look at it, I'm like, we got computers. Why are they building it from clay?
just
Like,
3D
what is
print
this? But they still use it for some reason. I don't know why, but it's still.
I think it's easy
used
to
for
fix.
engineering.
Because if you're standing there looking at it, it's still before it dries or hardens. And some clay just doesn't harden at all; it stays soft until you either fire wire it or.
That's like me.
But
I'm a stay soft. I'm stay soft clay.
But you
It's
can
'cause
still
I'm
move
on,
it.
I'm on
If you don't
citalopram.
like this, if you don't like this way this angle is, you can just push it a little bit and go, that looks better. It's the same thing like before these dry solid, and I don't like the way the cheeks are, I can tweak it a little bit, and then that works.
Do you ever tweak too much and you're like, I ruined it?
I have,
Yeah.
and that sucks.
Because you're
like, I love
overworking it.
this.
It's like pizza dough at some point, right? It's like
Yeah.
at some point you're like, this will not get any better. Maybe you've been into it too long. You've been looking at it for like 2 hours.
You gotta
or
walk
something.
away.
Really?
Walk away. Anybody who
Jeff.
does art, they sketch, painting, even writing a show, you got to walk away and give it a few minutes. Or
Gotcha.
Otherwise, you just do it.
Well, let's talk about your process. So, does all this? Does it just start with a block of clay and then you just start molding
Yeah,
it?
I think Tom and I, where we're so confused is that you've never done this before. You buy a blob of clay, you put it in front of you, and then like an hour later, you have this great thing.
Do you have
And
the
it's like-
picture
and
on-
you never knew you could do that?
Do you like? Okay, so say Jafar, right? So you bring up a picture of Jafar, and then you put you print it out, you put it up on a board, and then you just look at it, and then you mold the clay. Do you do it from?
No, I look at pictures. Yeah,
Okay.
but what I'll do is a lot of times, especially now that I've gotten into doing real people, is I will Google. I mean, we can find anything out there, but I'll Google like caricature drawings of a celebrity, and then actual photos of the celebrity. So I'll look at 4 or 5 different pictures in front of me just to get the basic idea of a face layout, how the cheek moves to this side. And it's so weird now too. Now that I've been doing this for the last like year or so, is when I go out and I'm out and about, I look at people's faces. Completely different now.
Don't look
to
at mine.
look
Don't
at
look at
where.
me.
Well, you have an interesting face.
because
Tom's just generic white guy.
I know. I'm mad at that.
boring
Yeah.
general.
You know what? I'm gonna start tanning myself a lot.
yes, I've been wanting this.
The hair, that's something else, though.
No, well,
Is it still you
oh,
still
I
working
can't-
with the mousse?
I can't-
no.
yeah, what do you
I
got,
have-
wax in
I
there
used
today?
the wrong. Yeah, no, it's a
It looks
pomade
like,
again.
It looks like clay.
Yeah,
Actually, it
yeah.
looks like you have clay hair.
I can sculpt that.
I need a more interesting face. I have
You need
basic.
to tan
Some
yourself.
tattoos.
Huh?
You need
Get some
to,
tattoos on your face.
yeah, you need to
Nah.
tan yourself, and you need a mohawk.
Oh, get cheek implants.
Yeah. I have to start
Some
doing
lip
some
fillers.
plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Why don't you wear colored contacts and get a tongue ring?
I need a more
You
pronounced.
need a tongue
chin.
ring and a bird on your shoulder.
I have a
That's-
weak, droopy like chin. That's
You have
not.
a soft chin.
Yeah.
Is
it's
that
You
what
not-
that's
have a
called?
chin at least, though. You do
Yeah.
have it.
I don't think
Yeah,
I
but-
have a chin. Sometimes my
No,
face
but-
just becomes neck, all neck.
No,
I'm
you
like
got
a neck
beard,
with hair
though.
on the top of it.
So Jeff, like, do you just start out like the clay is just a brick of clay? And then,
It is a block. I don't start with the block. I
Oh.
start with like when I first started, I used like styrofoam wig heads because I figured that would make it lighter. So I put the clay over that, and then when they would dry, is like the moisture out of the clay, it leaves because it's drying. It would start cracking on me, and I was never sure why it would crack. I thought it was the quality of the clay or anything. Then I took a sculpting class earlier this year in Winter Park, and the guy was showing us what to do to build like a fake skull to do anything. He's like using newspaper and masking tape just to build it because it has give to it, and when the clay shrinks, it absorbs it. So I've been doing that ever since, and I haven't had any cracking issues. So literally underneath these guys, it's a PVC pipe covered with balled up newspaper and masking tape.
weird.
So it's amazing to me that you tried to do the better thing by getting the wig head and then put the clay on that. Doesn't work. Too rigid. It's too solid. And then so you needed. How would you? That's crazy that you take a class and you learn. No, just use the newspaper.
Just use balled up newspaper.
It'll work
Don't
perfectly.
have to spend money and buy a
Yeah.
styrofoam head. Just ball up newspaper.
Nobody
and
even
wrap it.
reads a newspaper. It's
do
made
you
for
get
clay.
a newspaper?
Yes, I don't know. Get a couple
seen one in
weeklies,
years.
stuff it in there.
How-
Vote for yourself, best comedian.
How long does it take you to like from start to finish one of these?
One of them usually about 5 to 7 days. The biggest time is for them to dry. It takes like 3 to 4 days for them to fully dry.
That's a
before I
long time.
Can paint it. And then also I discovered after I started painting the first few, someone said, "Oh, you should try airbrushing because you can get better details with the shading stuff." So I'm like, "All right." So I bought a cheap airbrush to try it. I'm like, "Oh, this is fun."
And then you
So-
started learning how to airbrush.
learned
which is
how to
a whole
airbrush.
different art.
But you didn't know how to airbrush.
I had no idea how to airbrush. I mean, I'm not going to be out there airbrushing anybody's van
But it looks
anytime
awesome.
soon. But
I
I,
mean,
can do
like-
details.
Yeah,
so.
but
This is making you mad, isn't it?
Well, no,
a little bit.
No, because this is a classic example of like there's some
It's like Michael Jordan plays baseball.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
there he
yeah,
goes.
there's
Oh,
a-
yeah, of course he knows how to do it.
There's some athlete that's a tall kid that has the correct proportions. he's 6'2", 230, and some NFL
Patrick Mahomes,
coach.
he could have picked
Well,
any
yeah,
Major
sorry.
League Baseball team he wanted to play for.
He can play any sport, really. Except for ice hockey, he didn't learn how to skate or whatever. He's got the abilities. And Jeff Jones, you had the artistic ability.
did.
Where you just pick up sculpting, you airbrush. I could never do this. I don't have the ability. No matter how much, it would take me the rest of my life to even get 1/10 as good as Jeff Jones if I practice every day, because it's some sort of
It's just not your
genetic
thing.
ability you have to look at. When I can't even understand when a sculptor takes something and then even when I see people draw, remember the guy on TikTok that he can draw all 10 characters of one person at the same time with a Sharpie with a stick, and it's connected to a bunch
yeah,
of
and he
Sharpies.
moves each one independently.
Where he
I
moved-
hate that guy.
It was like, I'm like, this is that's a magic trick. That can't
Yeah.
be real.
Yeah.
No one can do that, and this guy does it. It's like people can do things that are so amazing to me. I can't even comprehend how do they even visualize that and see it through to the end.
What's the hardest part of visualizing? Like when you start, what's the hardest part of visualizing your character?
The sides of the profiles.
Okay.
Because you work front only, and then when it's done, all of a sudden you turn to the side and go, "Oh, that looks like crap."
Yeah, and then you
It's like,
got
it looks like everything's not even, and it's like, okay, so now I've had to realize that, I need to go all three sides.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because even when you look at your own face, you don't necessarily think, what do I look like only from this side?
You know
from
what's
this
funny
side?"
is I always check this. I look at myself and I look at this side and then I look at this side because I'm a weirdo.
Which side's your good side?
This side. My right side. And I face the bad side to the camera and it drives me crazy. Like I sit here and I'm like, oh, you're on your bad side. What's a bad side to me? Like,
Right.
I mean, my wife says every side of me is bad.
You know what's
Yeah,
weird?
but
I don't think she says
yeah, she does. You don't hear her. You're not there. You
Because-
don't know me.
That's true.
My wife gets
My true
car
core.
sick, so I'm always riding passenger in long car rides.
Hold on a second.
I think
that's
she
what
just doesn't like your
That's what I
driving.
used to say too, and it was because I was always drunk.
But the right side of my face got sun damage like a trucker because if I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and then I'm like, what? Like I've noticed, like,
You
my
got,
right side,
you got DUI face.
the right side of my face is sun damaged more than the left side. Anyway, so Jeff, how did you realize? Like, I know you mentioned at the beginning that some people started reaching out to you wanting to buy.
Yeah, because
these
this is
pieces.
like it's not a hobby anymore, right? Or
It's still a hobby. I mean, it's
but it's becoming a little better than a hobby.
yeah. I mean, because I've I did one the one last couple of weeks. I did a Clark Griswold from Christmas Vacation.
Have you seen that one?
No.
Do you have a photo
Yeah,
of that?
I have him on here.
Yeah, just so you can show the guy. It's so good. It lights up. It's him like where he's. I believe it's him where he's proud. He's plugging
Oh,
everything
wow.
in. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
And I posted it in a group of people who are addicted to decorating their house for Christmas.
Sure. Oh,
And
Norman's falling down. I don't want him to break his wig or whatever.
Or stab you on
Yeah.
accident.
yeah, exactly. It'd be bad if one of your sculptures came to life and killed you on our couch.
That's unfair. But no, and so they all started messaging me like, "Oh, well, can I get one? Can I get one? Can I get one?" So I'm like, now I got a bunch of people. You can go down here.
How do you do? Okay. This is what I'm curious about, Jeff.
so now he's got to start selling.
Well, okay. Let's talk about the
Yeah,
business
and then
part.
you got to
of it.
get the wardrobe to match the character.
And he did such a good job. And this one lights up and flickers, right? Like the Griswold.
Yeah, I added Christmas lights to it. But
Yeah, so he's
some of the costumes I make, some of them I'll buy online, and like the Beetlejuice costume is a regular Halloween costume.
Sure, it's great though.
But it was bright white and black when I got it, so I airbrushed the aging onto it. So
it's,
That's
it
so
looks,
cool.
it is beyond cool, dude.
So it fascinates me how artists price their work, because it's all over the place and it's subjective and it depends on lots of different
Time
things.
spent, vision, materials.
because it's not a normal market.
what you offer.
Like I understand business and markets, and usually the market is determined by obviously the environment and like demand, and so but it's also in the art world based on the artists themselves, right? How popular that artist is,
Sure.
How and also demand, but
and when you die,
and exactly. Oh, then it
Yeah,
really
I'm
skyrockets.
gonna
over.
die.
no, don't
But-
say that.
But then it's how do you even, like, when someone wanted to buy your first piece, how did you even determine what to price it?
oh, I had no clue.
So we're,
Yeah, that's an honest
no
answer
clue.
too,
I have
because
no clue.
we kind of do that and did do that with like, what do you charge for a podcasting
Advertising.
commercial? Yeah, like
Yeah.
we're in the same boat because it's like it's not something that people do.
But
It's very rare. It's weird.
And
Like, what do you charge for a hand sculpted hangable wall bust?
Was
Is
I
that-
charged. It was anywhere between like $250 for one, because I was like, oh, these are old ones. I wouldn't mind getting rid of this one so I can
sure?
redo it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but then
They're big.
But some of the other ones I'm getting into, it's like $500.
Yes, exactly.
And then other
that
people look at
seems
me and go,
too little.
It does.
See,
Me too.
I get that a lot,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. That's a lot. I mean, $500 for me seems extreme. For that Beetlejuice, $500 is reasonable. I mean, that is. You better snatch that up
for
now.
custom made. Like sometimes
Please.
I'll be like.
I see the statues that these nerds buy, man.
I know. I've been
Thousands
to
of dollars.
Comic Cons
Yes.
and I've been to Spooky Empires.
Yeah,
and that
I mean
kind of
Butler
stuff.
when he worked here would buy these statues like $700. You know, for a tiny little 12-foot
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or
yeah.
not 12-foot, 12-inch, Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah. There's paintings that I'll be like, oh, this painting looks like 18,000.
Right.
18,000.
So, but again, but you may want to reasonably price them so people can collect a bunch
Well,
of
and
them.
I'm
or
also
repeats.
right now reasonably priced them because I've not been doing this for a year. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
it's practice. So and
Right,
it gets
right.
it's hard for me also to while I'm doing them not get too attached to liking them because I'm like. They need to go.
Right.
It's terrible that it's like adopting a child and going, it's like foster kids for me.
Or if like, is it that way when like, let's take Norman for instance. Let's say you learned something on this one, like you were doing the mouth and then you learned a technique from your class
Yeah.
or an airbrushing thing. It would be very difficult. You know how emotional I am. You guys all know I'm an emotional guy. It would be hard for me once I learned something on that. Now I'm sort of connected to it, right? I don't want to get rid of that one. That's the one that taught me how to, I don't know, smush it this way or airbrush that way.
No, at this point, I've talked myself into 90% of them. Like they can go.
Yeah, because it's all up
They
here.
can go.
You,
They can go because I can just make another.
you can do it again.
I can do it again.
So Jeff, if we were going to commission a piece from you and for Sam for her birthday next year, because Sam.
Oh, I thought you were going to have him
'Cause we
build
gotta-
a Sam for us.
I mean, those two would be actually fun.
Okay. If you will, back to us at all.
God damn it. I almost
want
got a
one for
present.
us.
we could put him in the Air T&D,
Yeah.
and we could
true.
put a card there that says if you want to buy one of these.
I mean,
you know.
they're great for selfies. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would.
See, I'm selling right now.
I'd rather have a nude Sam.
Okay. Well, now I'm back to Sam.
Yeah, I knew you would be.
Wait.
I want
Yeah,
a
big
big. I want
clay.
biggest.
Now, boobs are hard.
hard.
I've tried,
Yeah.
man. Boobs are not easy.
That's
I've
not what's
had-
hard on me.
Mine are real. They're not hard.
Yeah, you can make them big clay. You know what? Just put the clay there. I'll take care of making them boobs.
So it would be cool to have a cartoon Tom and Dan face commissioned full.
Have you had any strange ones? Have you had any where people have reached out to you yet and said like, "Hey, I want you to make my wife or make my husband"? Or
No, I'm afraid of those.
I thought you might be
because if a caricature could either
It'd go wrong.
It can, you can go real.
it can go
wrong.
sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know that people do it. I see those things online where it's like, draw my pet or something.
I've thought about doing people's pets too because people are obsessed with their pets.
And
so
if you
I'm
made
like,
them a full, make them
Yeah.
human. It's no different than those paintings that were the rage about 5 years ago.
those
Where,
creepy with the dogs and clothes.
yeah, like a dog who's an admiral of a boat. Like, all right.
Let's talk villains for a second. Disney villains, and Sam knows a lot about Disney villains. Now, Jafar, you mentioned like that's an iconic Disney villain that I feel like is got to be on the top
Hey, bad news.
5 Disney
He's a
villains
bad
of all
hombre.
time. But who else am I missing here?
Oh my God, there's so many Disney
who's
villains.
an iconic Disney villain?
Fire
that's-
is a
Cruella de Vil. you've
Cruella,
got
yeah,
Captain
yeah.
Hook is probably one.
Captain
of the bigger
Hook,
ones.
okay,
which
yeah.
I've done all of those. But again, I go to the interesting faces.
How about
'cause there's-
Scar from Lion King?
I've not done an animal one yet. I've done Sir Hiss, the snake, the little sidekick snake from Robin Hood. I did that one.
Oh, that's a good one.
But because I kind
Ursula
of like
would be good too.
Ursula. I did Ursula.
Oh, you did
She's-
Have you
Ursula?
seen his
No,
Ursula?
I haven't
Oh,
seen
it's
it.
great, and it is big.
She's not
clay.
on. She's not on here, but I can pull her up.
Yeah,
so.
she's good.
But
Who's the villain from Pocahontas? I feel.
Oh, that fat dude with the 2 ponytails.
yeah.
Yeah, who's that guy? Who's the
that
fat dude with the ponytails? That guy
Yeah.
looks like he works at a baseball card shop.
He runs a comic book.
Yeah,
store,
like he's got the 2 little.
John Ratcliffe.
Yeah, that guy's horrible. I watched
Yeah,
that
that
movie with
nose,
Maisie
yeah.
the other day. It was on, and we just watched it. That is a horrible movie.
No, the worst one is Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
If you ever
Oh,
watched
yeah.
that movie, in the first
He's
5 minutes, he chases down a family, kills the mom, and threatens to throw the baby into a well and kill it.
Oh yeah, you're
This
right.
was 1990s
Yeah.
Disney.
you're right.
And people are complaining now that it's not family friendly.
Right.
You tried to kill a baby in the first
Yeah, yeah,
5 minutes of a movie.
Yeah, and now the biggest villain is a grandma that
That's
Breaks
on a
the
guitar.
guitar.
I hate her though. Why'd you have to bring her up?
Well,
That scene, for whatever reason, and I hate this word because it's been stolen and killed, but it triggers me when I see that lady throw the guitar down. It breaks my heart for the kid. It crushes
he used to
me.
throw
Like,
babies.
yeah, I know.
Now it's guitar. Now in Kanto, there's not even a villain.
Yeah,
at all.
there
Yes,
isn't.
there is. That grandmother is the evil.
You think so?
Oh, yes.
She just
is.
wants to keep her family
Have you
together.
heard my Encanto theory? My
Selfish.
Encanto, like my second part of
that
Encanto, like
bad.
I want to be in charge of Encanto too because I've said this
That
to you
sounds
guys.
like a gastrointestinal
It does.
disease.
But here's
I've
what
got
happens.
Encanto too.
So the whole village, they're being held hostage by these superpower family that live on the hill, and they protect the village. We got to kill all the superpowers. It's kind of like the boys. We got to kill the whole family because they're extorting us. They're stealing our stuff. You know, we need to be independent from this family. We got to kill them. Kill every single one of them.
I might be down with
The
that.
kids, everybody. You got to just murder the whole family, burn the house to the ground, and then we're free.
That's probably what's going on.
That's what it felt like to me. It felt like,
Well, I think that's why they had to make their own village in the first place, is because white settlers were killing their village.
no, I know, but then they live
So
up
then
there.
Dan's gonna
They
just
live
kill
up
them
there
again.
in a talking mansion, you know. Then I'm down here working every day.
But also, how long have they been living around the magical mountains? What if things have changed?
Yeah.
What if it's the future?
You bring
How
up a
old is
great point.
Grandma?
Is there another family on the other side of the mountain
Yeah.
they don't know
Then
about?
it's
Yeah.
like the village.
Yeah. Then you have to fight them with your superpowers.
But what's those superpowers? Some of those superpowers they had
We're
were just-
bad.
They're
I can hear.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
I can hear. I
But
can
really
hear.
good.
I can hear really good.
And then I'll bring up the most problematic thing is a little shape-shifting boy turns into a smaller version of his dad, which means that he has his dad's ding dong, which is so problematic. Like, you mean to tell
That's
me that
weird.
if I could shapeshift into any one of you guys that I wouldn't immediately run to the bathroom and look at my pants?
But let's talk about that creepy house. The bathroom.
Yes.
The house comes alive and
Oh, you're
Oh,
right.
yeah,
You're
they're
hold on,
looking
Jeff.
at
It's
you.
blowing my mind. I never thought about it.
Is
Oh my
the
God,
toilet alive?
Oh, God. Yeah, you go in there, the house is like you're sitting on my eyeball.
that's what does the toilet. Yo.
Oh, man, you changed it for me. You ruined my,
Why do we talk about
You've
that?
ruined my Thursday.
The toilet burps. The toilet burps.
Oh, my
instead.
God. Okay, stop.
So,
Disgusting.
so Jeff, is it just you market these
The
through
chat
like,
room just said, dude. That's all they said.
like Reddit,
what that means.
Reddit blogs and like Facebook pages and like how do you market the-
Facebook groups seem to be
Group?
the thing, and it's because it's the people who want
Like-minded,
the most.
yeah.
It's Halloween and Christmas people.
Gotcha.
It's people who, and you know, just doing the Clark Griswold. I was like, well, this is just doing it for fun because I decorate my house for Christmas, and people went crazy. I'm like, there's so many options at Christmas time now that I could do stuff for. Because as soon as I did the Clark, people were like, oh, you need to do the Cousin Eddie, you know, the Randy Quaid character.
Oh, that's
with
gonna
the-
be- oh, that would be
and
amazing.
then the bathrobe. you
Sure.
know.
With the hat. Yeah.
Yeah.
If-
So
if you put up that Clark Griswold that you made,
That's $1,000 all day long.
you couldn't leave it out in your front
No.
yard, right?
No,
Like,
no,
that was- yeah.
no.
You'd
But-
have to put it in a window with the some sort of display.
Kind of like I have
Yeah.
the holographic, well, no holographs, but I have the pumpkins that sing.
Yeah.
You know, when you project onto the like
Yeah.
real pumpkins. But you can't leave that stuff
No,
even in a
people-
decent neighborhood. People will nick anything, man.
Yeah,
They're
people
crazy.
stealing everything,
We have to bring it in every night.
Every night.
No, you can leave the projection.
No, dude, I
thing
left it
out.
out. I left it out there one night, and somebody walked by and tampered with it, unplugged everything,
Yeah.
and pushed it in the bushes.
People were stealing. People were stealing Christmas.
shoved them in the
presents.
bushes.
Just pushed it in the
Why'd
bushes.
they do that?
Well, at least they didn't steal it.
I mean, but they will. You know, I mean,
They
you
stole
leave-
EJ's Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Well, he lives in a bad neighborhood.
Well, okay.
He's poor.
So, I got one last question for you. Like, I mean, you've done a lot of Fringe, a lot of shows, a lot of stand-up. Is this the new thing? Is this where you're at now?
Yeah,
or-
because I'm an old gay man, so it's either we travel, we do art, or we garden. It's too hot to garden,
really it.
and I can't afford to travel. So this is I just now wear Hawaiian shirts and sit in my living room.
Cooler
I
than
like that.
gardening.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
That's pretty much my future now. There's only three options
wait
once
a
you're
minute.
over
You
40.
do that.
I know. I was
You're an
thinking
old
about.
gay man.
I want to hang out with old gay men because
You're there.
I will. I mean,
All he does is garden.
You'll
We'll
do the
garden
gardening.
together. We'll
Yeah.
plant. Yeah, yeah.
We just do stuff around the house, and then we go. We will occasionally go out to dinner at like 5. And
Oh, I
in
love
bed,
it early
in bed
dinner.
at 10.
Yeah, yeah.
The latest.
Wait a minute.
Are you a
I'm
vegetarian?
an old gay man now.
No.
Oh, so you have someone to eat meat with.
I like Hawaiian shirts too. I feel like you'll appreciate my plants, Jeff. No one else does. You'll.
I do. I gave you nothing but
No, you
My
don't.
angel
You-
trump is flourishing now, by the way.
Oh yeah, they make that in some tea and blow your pants off.
If people wanted to get in touch with you, if they wanted to commission something, is that something you're
Yeah,
doing?
that's why I prefer stuff
Yeah.
that people want to.
Where can people get at you?
Just go to my website. It's got Caricature, like the sketch art's got caricature.com, or just Jeff Jones Comedy takes to my old website that still has comedy dates from 2020 on it.
I love it.
Yeah.
You made a lot of people happy in the chat room, man.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Well,
loving the art.
Jeff, I
Well
will
done.
say we will pay you to commission a Tom and Dan. And we'll put it in our AirTND.
It would be great.
Yeah, because I want to put some more art.
Dude, the
in
perfect
there.
area for it when you walk in where the
Yeah.
on-air light is, you have it flank the on-air lights, and then that way people, when they first walk in, can get a photo.
What would be fun and cool too is if you guys if you have a specific shirt or hat you want your guys to have on, and I'll put that.
Oh, I'll give you one of my hats and a shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
and you
put-
got an extra one of those, like
Yeah,
a polo.
yeah. I give you a
I'll put your clothes on them.
I
Yeah,
have an
that's
older,
awesome.
I have an older T&D Media one that we can use.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be cool, and we'll pay you for it, and put them in the Air
Sounds
T&D
good.
as an advertisement with a little, maybe put a QR there. So people
Yeah,
can
yeah,
hit
yeah.
it and then go to
It'll be a very popular,
gotcaricature.com.
selfie situation.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
Jeff, thanks so much.
No,
for
Always
being
a
here.
pleasure
No, it's
seeing
fun,
you.
yeah.
Gotcaricature.com. Is there anything else?
I think that's it. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time. Welcome back to a Corporate Time. All right, I got a theory.
Okay.
Tell me if...
Is it a conspiracy theory?
No.
I don't like conspiracy theories.
We should do conspiracy theory like...
Just steal my show.
yeah, we did do whatever Sam's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, we'll just call it, you heard this thing? Have you heard this thing?
Yeah, you heard about this conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
Really long. We should shorten that.
Have you heard about this too?
Yeah. So, you know the saying, do what makes you happy, right?
Yes.
I do know that saying.
I think it's a little off because I feel like it should be do what makes you fulfilled because
nothing fulfills me.
Well,
Because I'd have to know what true fulfillment means in order to do that.
well, I think it is hard. Like, what does fulfillment even mean?
Right. Thank you.
There's a certain satisfaction you get by accomplishing tasks, or like when you work. I feel like work shouldn't necessarily make you happy
All work.
or be fun.
All work and no play.
Well, because people are like, oh, the what's the song that if
Please sing it.
Cotton Eye
you're on-
Joe. Cotton Eye Joe?
You're on TikTok all the time. It's basically if you love what you do,
If you love somebody, set them free.
you're on
Sting.
vacation at all times, or something.
Permanent vacation. Aerosmith.
But anyway,
Love in an elevator.
I think I'm going to teach my sons like to do what makes them the most fulfilled and not necessarily what makes them the most happy. I think you out of work, your hobby should make you happy. Work should make you fulfilled. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. But again, I go back to like, I don't even know what truly fulfills me. You have to start there and dialing it down, right? Of like what gives you the feeling of fulfillment.
Well, I mean, your job, obviously, there's a thing.
Some days I leave here, I feel very empty inside.
Yeah. Well, everybody does. Like, no one's
Hollow.
all happy every day at
There's
work.
a
or
hole
whatever.
in my heart that can only be filled by you.
But
Extreme.
your work should make you at least have some sort of feeling of accomplishment, right? Because without that, then
Didn't you just say off air that
Nothing.
that audio doesn't fulfill you? Like,
my creative side, because that I don't get any visual representation of
what
I've
about the
done.
numbers, the downloads?
Yeah, what about when you're crunching numbers?
That doesn't give you
No
the
fulfillment?
same psychological effect as.
What about the engagement in the BDM group
No, I like that.
or the Twitch chat?
I like that. It's just
It's physical representation of your work.
I'm fulfilled.
It
I'm
doesn't-
most
it doesn't work
fulfilled
the
when
same.
my check clears.
well
No,
that
I'm kidding.
but,
Joke.
Fulfill my wallet.
but like cleaning my house
I get
gives me
fulfillment out of that. Yeah.
Well, it's dirty before I've made it clean, and then there's like doing the dishes. Like there's a sink full of
you
dishes.
love doing the dishes.
And then they're done after. It's like some sort of minute,
like mowing the grass for me.
Visual representation of an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
Wiping
we have a
down
hard
my
time.
car, like I'm big on that. Vacuuming
Yeah.
out my car, making it look nice, wiping it down.
But if you're not fulfilled at work, like you don't get any sense of
I'm almost
accomplishment.
okay. Follow me here. I'm almost too fulfilled here in that it's impossible for us to get everything done. Because some days I feel full of what we're doing and very proud
yeah.
of what we're doing, and I feel like what we're doing is good and it's
Yeah.
just and it's quality, and I feel like we all care. But then some days it's so much that it blurs it a little
It's
bit.
overwhelming.
Yeah, overwhelming. Perfectly said. I get a little overwhelmed. But I am definitely fulfilled here.
Yeah, and
Because I think everybody's on board. Like I look at you guys and I'm like, and we get each other's backs, and there's like an understood, idea of where the boat's going, and we're all kind of paddling it along.
Yeah,
I like that.
Well, just being driven towards a career or work that gives you that sense of accomplishment or fulfillment is the most important. But we always harp on fun or happiness.
Sure.
And I think that's the wrong message, because like I think it's nearly impossible to do work that gives you that feeling. Like happiness is the wrong word for it.
But if you're fulfilled, you could be happy.
Being fulfilled
I'm not
makes
going
you
to say
happy.
you're
yeah.
definitely happy, but if you're fulfilled, I mean, it's definitely ticking a box that I think needs to be there in order to even attempt to be happy. You would need to be fulfilled first, right?
Yes, yeah. But we always just harp on the happiness part, and I think that's the wrong message, because, and I think that's why so many people get mad or disappointed of what they're doing, because that message of like, well, this doesn't make me happy, and like, but does it make you fulfilled? That like, does your job make you feel accomplished, or like even earning the money may be enough for you to be like, well, I earned the money for my family to support myself, and that's the fulfillment I need, and that could be fine. It couldn't necessarily not be the actual job itself. Sometimes it's just a necessity that you earn money. Listen, I'm not, I realize, like, what is it? I mean, more than half the people out there are doing their job for the money. And
Most people are.
Yeah, like
most.
75% of the world just does their job for the money.
It's funny.
Maybe
We used to work with
more than that.
We used to work with somebody. I agree with you, Sam. We used to work with somebody who said,
I mean, it's a job. It's work.
that they did not believe that most people did their job just and strictly for the money. And I think now more than ever,
Yeah.
and now more than ever, I'm starting
that
to
person
see.
has no.
Because if you had
grasp on
endless
reality.
money, or let's just say money wasn't a thing that you needed, either
Right.
one, let's go
Okay.
either way.
Sure.
Most people would not do what they, quote, do for a job.
No,
or
hell no.
work. So they're just there for the money, is my point.
Yeah. No, and
Like, okay, there is a scenario where
But-
if something happened where I didn't need to do this anymore, I enjoy it enough that I can't see me not doing it.
you'd have some sort of creative outlet.
Yeah.
Right.
like whether now it probably wouldn't be in the schedule. It wouldn't be for.
It'd be whenever you want.
It wouldn't be 4
Right, but
hours a
this
day.
is- This is the,
And you could put out
but-
whatever,
But
however
this is the blueprint. It
little
doesn't.
or more that you want.
Right.
But
Yeah.
this is a very unique job,
Yeah, we're very blessed.
as opposed to most.
And I don't use that term very often, but I do think
Hashtag blessed.
I do think we're blessed in that we get the
Man,
opportunity.
we did it ourselves.
No, I know.
No one blessed us.
Well,
with
we
anything.
made our blessings. I'm not.
No, yeah.
we made our blessings, but I still. Maybe I'm using the term wrong, but
we did. I mean,
we're the blessing makers.
when we
this mess.
succeed, I point at our brains. I don't point up in the heavens. No one did this but us. Anyway,
I'm pointing at my brain.
but
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you. I think I agree with you on that. Now,
Hard to find that thing, though, and I think most people search their entire lives and may not even find the perfect position or job. And I think it evolves because you change as a human, right? Yeah, I don't think the same way as I did when I was 25.
Let me ask you something that I think it gives you a feeling of fulfillment. It may not fulfill you completely, but I think you would put this in the category.
Are you fulfilled with this job?
I think it's
Yeah. Well,
your plants. No, I'm trying to think of things outside of this job because I think most of us, as far as a job goes, I don't want to speak for you, but I think as far as a job goes, this is pretty fulfilling for me. Like, I don't
see. I think I'm thinking of it differently than you guys are because it's like fulfillment to me. It's like a closure type thing, and I feel like there's always something to do here. So it's never quite. I'm never quite fulfilled because there's always something else we're working on. You know,
that goes back to me saying,
I guess maybe at the end of the day, it's like, well, we got the shows done, but then we have events we have to plan. We have merch we have to think of.
True.
There's so much all the time.
There's a never-ending amount of future work, but I guess the main point is like, all right, so even for you, Sam, like you're a part of this unique business that doesn't really exist that many places. So there's a sense
I have yet to meet another one. I'm serious.
You are helping this business survive that's unique, that's not necessarily a common thing, which is so you're special in the fact that you are a producer and I mean office manager to a small podcasting business in Orlando,
and you have your own small podcasting business on the side because you're nuts.
And then so
never fulfilled. That's what I'm saying.
But the fact that you're doing a unique job. And
not fulfilled.
That doesn't exist and is rare should give you a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment. It's like, hey, I am doing a job that
based on those
rare.
guidelines, I'm nailing it. Yeah, I'm fulfilled here.
It's not that there's not that many people doing this job, and then the reason is hard.
Yeah.
And and it takes a unique set of skills to even do it.
It's funny.
So the fact that it's unique should give you some fulfillment that not everybody's doing it. If you're...
God, the chat room thinks you're having a midlife crisis.
I mean, he might be.
I mean, there are tons of messages from people that think that you bearing this on the show, this little nugget of honesty that you've bared on the show, the chat room seems to collectively, if what I'm reading is correct, they seem to think that you are yearning for spontaneity and that you are having a bit of a midlife pivot. Is that true? What would you say? What would you say to somebody who says right now that you are freaking out, bro?
Well, they're right. I am having a midlife crisis.
You got him.
Midlife, half of it's gone. I didn't even do anything. Stupid parachute, wasting a bunch of time. Stupid predators.
Stop making
Goddamn clown. Clown.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer, is here. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
Go to tomandan.com for all things Tom and Dan, and let's get our business out of the way. Right now, you can check out our page, and under the tab Merchandise, there is tons of brand new Villain collaborative merch that we have out right now. There's lady shirts, kid shirts. There's Tom and Dan and Villain coffee. If you've never had Villain coffee, it's really good. Yeah, the hats are on there.
It looks like the tank top has sold out.
Oops.
Oh, yeah. We didn't
it's
know
limited
that much.
run, so if you want this stuff, you better buy it soon.
Sorry about that.
Also, Eric Merchman will be out selling merch at the Food Truck Fiesta this Sunday in Sanford. They do it the second Sunday of each month. And there's like over 40 food trucks. It's huge out there, free.
It's huge. You can't say that.
So, I need to.
You know what? You can again. They lost their copyright.
No.
Yeah.
It's huge?
We can snatch that up. It's huge.
Let's start saying
Yeah. I figured we'd snatch it up and just steal all of the momentum that they've had for like the last 10 years. I made all that up. Don't say it.
Okay.
I don't think they're litigious men. But you never know these days. People can change on a dime, and you never know what money will make you do. This is a perfect segue into our guest.
Yes. It's Sue Spot now. They'll get you good. Kyle Eagles here. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
So, Kyle, you're back here because I saw on social media...
They took our paintings away.
that,
the FBI done take our paintings away, Kyle.
By that biscuit artist.
Yeah. Who took my biscuit?
I saw the FBI raid, and I was like, we thought Kyle's in here. He got him.
You know, I got anxiety from that when I saw it. I was like, what did we do wrong? Like I instantly thought we did something wrong because that's how I live my life. Is that they're like,
We
"Did you hear about?
exposed it,
Did you hear about the Basquiats? Do you hear about the biscuits?
Oh.
The FBI got them." I was like, "What do we do?"
Yeah. Oh, they're coming to get us.
Yeah.
Because we exposed, until we talked about it,
Yeah.
we blew the roof off.
We
it.
blew the roof off of that, and it was all that one guy who looks like a young Colonel Sanders.
So, Kyle.
Oh yeah, we don't want to grow off.
Yeah, he looks like young Colonel Sanders. So young Colonel Sanders made us look like a fool.
I don't know why no one put that. There's been so much play off his name. DeGrift is one. I can be more opinionated here, right? I don't
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
be so proper.
Yeah.
You know.
You're with Tom and Dad. You
You
can
know.
poop on the
Yeah.
floor.
You
if
don't even have
want.
to say
Yeah.
the facts.
You know,
You can blatantly lie.
He's from Mars, guys. He's a part of a Martian
can make up-
envoy to take over the world.
Anything. So, what happened since the last time we talked to you?
Interesting, man. Well, there was an FBI raid not long ago in Fort Lauderdale of raids, but lots happened actually, and it is shocking to see something like that get raided by the FBI, and so that got taken. Interestingly enough, I was there the day before. I wanted to shoot the gallery, get video, get my own picture of the piece with the FedEx font in the front, not the back. That's one on the front of the painting.
Yeah.
They let you inside?
I
I
would
would
like-
I actually paid.
Yeah, no
Oh.
offense, but either whether you pay it or not, I would not allow you in.
Yeah.
I'd
I'd be like, the Eagles here. Get them out of there.
Well, okay, so hold that point on something real quick. So I got in. I went like the last 10 minutes when I knew probably security is just like, it's the end of the day. Let's get out of here. I just walked through. I got like 2 minutes of video, some photographs for other purposes down the line. And then I went out, and by the time I was getting home that night, I started hearing about the FBI showed up, blah, blah, blah. And in the morning, they're ready, like, holy mackerel, my timing on that was great. I'm glad I decided to.
But yeah, the same day or the day before. So then,
That's crazy.
what do you think the catalyst was? Because obviously we talked about the story, and
It was about 4 weeks ago. We had you on.
the
We walked
fraudulent,
through-
the
yeah.
possible fraudulent paintings. I mean, it seemed pretty clear with all the evidence you presented to us. And then, what do you think was the catalyst to actually have the FBI raid them, or you think this was the plan the whole time? It was just time.
Well, they were going to go to Italy, and that was kind of the crime. I remember saying that, in that, like, if we can make enough stink, or if enough attention is brought to it, hopefully something will happen. I'm sure the FBI's been on this scam for years now, but it was going to go to Italy, which is apparently where DeGroff had gone to, I guess, to oversee the shipment over there. And they got before it was a flight risk, and that was great. I think it's interesting that the FBI raided and he wasn't there. That to me is a little.
So when the FBI raids,
I don't think they raid like what I'm thinking.
No, like
I
bust
would-
the door down like a drug raid. No,
Yeah,
no.
I would like to see them break all the windows out and swing through the windows, firing bullets,
tear
and
gas.
tear gas, and just
Concussion
kicking,
grenade,
Yeah,
I
I
like
mean,
that.
just-
Like in those James Bond movies where all
Yes.
those guys in berets show up.
yeah, or like when the Joker takes over a bank and there's guys in clown masks ziplining through the bank as smoke goes everywhere.
And museum employees punching it out with
Yeah,
the
that's-
FBI and bang.
That's what I
Ding!
wanted.
I'm a big
That's
fan.
That's
of,
actually what happened.
I'm a big fan of the badge on a necklace. I like a badge on a necklace.
Yeah, I wear mine. I wear my Tom and Dan ID on a necklace.
So
You go to crime scenes with your Tom and Dan ID,
I do.
So-
carries a lot of weight.
they raid and take all the paintings.
Yeah.
And then what happens to the facility? Like, are they just out the money, or like what?
To my knowledge, the whole thing would be seized. It would be taken to FBI for further investigation. Obviously, everyone involved, the principal owners, Pierce O'Donnell, Leo Mangan, and William Forrest, are really in the hot seat. Aaron DeGroff, who knows, he hasn't been seen for a while. He's moved out of his residence seemingly long before this happened. So maybe he had a clue or an idea of something else he's going to try and skip out on, or just. But like I said, the FBI has been investigating this for a long time before it showed up at the museum, and then the museum was warned about it. Nothing happened, and that's kind of the rub. And one thing I want to say real quick: a lot of people have thanked you guys as a take on this whole thing, and feel like you guys have helped with it.
Oh, good.
yeah, we're kind
Sam
of heroes.
Flax.
Yeah. Oh,
Sam
on.
Flack
Yeah.
said we're heroes.
Yeah,
He wrote that open letter, and he said
Interesting.
specifically, "I think you guys really get it, and it helps kind of spread the message."
Oh, that's
a
very
bit."
kind.
Oh, I would like a nice business chair, Sam.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. If you want to send
Me
us,
too.
yeah. If you want to send us, hold on.
I mean,
I'm the one that really
I'll lowball.
spearheaded this.
I'll lowball. I'll take some colored pencils and a greeting card.
I'm the one that set up this interview.
Yeah, but I really showed the passion, Sam, and that's what Sam
But
Flack
I'm the
recognized.
star. I mean, I'm why they're here.
I just say it. If Sam wanted to send us a couple business chairs and
We're
some
getting confused.
pencils.
Too many Sams.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, this has got to be embarrassing for the art museum.
Oh,
right?
sure,
Like,
the whole thing. Like,
and I mean, they're gonna fire. Are they gonna fire the director?
he was gone.
They have to. I mean, you're like an FBI
No, he's
raided
gone.
your.
Yeah,
oh,
he was gone.
Okay.
Yeah, they let him go. One of the things I'm curious to know who was in top management when the FBI showed up. That I would like to know who. Obviously, the point person to go to. Second of all,
I'd run out the back.
Yeah, oh man, you know what? I would jump out a window to make more of them, to make it look crazier.
But it's only a first.
They're like, sir, you're not under arrest.
Yeah, I would jump out a window and then roll through the bushes and be like breathing heavy.
Yeah.
And then I'd swim through a retention pond to get to my car just to make it look crazy.
roll around the ditch.
I do that move like, where the police are like, we'll just wait you out. You're out there just kind of treading water in the retention pond.
Yeah.
Do they take the stuff? They just take it off the walls, and if it do they bother?
Do they take care in packaging it?
That's I've wondered that as well. I'm sure that
Or do they just
But
throw
this
it
is
in the back? That's a fake basket.
Yeah, we know this is fake. Just throw it in the back of the van.
they took it to an FBI pub and played darts with it.
yeah, who knows?
Well, one of the things going back to him getting let go is out of the list of things that have been happening since this thing opened in February was they like. Oh, it did seem the top of the list of reasons is that his unprofessional email that he wrote to an art expert, a fellow academic. And it was really, really colorful, really, really rude, very pompous. I'm like, that shouldn't be on the top of the list. What should be on the top of the list is this guy has brought in fake work. He knew it. If he didn't, he must have been born yesterday. It's just been a debacle and a total credibility gap from day one. That's why he's let go. The letter is one thing, but that's more of an indicative side of his personality, I think. But which also, too, I think a lot of this story now is there's a lot of questions. But to me, I think the rest of it's going to be when he finally talks about it. Like, how did you meet these guys? What made you, within a short period of time, implode your career?
That's the most interesting
Yeah,
part.
because he's been at Muscarel and other museums for going on 20 years. Not really a blip on the radar. Although I've reached out to people that worked with him, no responses. But you can't find anything they did wrong.
Now, well, this is a total conspiracy theory.
Yes.
And I'm talking
You heard about this one?
All right.
I'm talking about myself. Okay.
Oh, what
Okay.
did you do?
Say Tom Van, they appoint me director of the
Orlando Art Museum?
Art
Or
Museum.
Art Museum?
And
Museum
Well,
of
they're
Art.
struggling if they're hiring you.
so I'm director. I'm sitting back. And I'm like, oh God, how can I make
Dogs
money
playing
here?
poker.
Yeah. And then
How do I get people to the
They
museum?
might be doing that next.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
And then I start dabbling in some the underworld of
Gambling,
art,
like you currently do.
art counterfeiting. And so I start meeting some people, and I get introduced to some people, and they have a meeting with me, and they're like, listen, if you accept this art in your museum, it basically gives it a verification, a blue check mark to the world that it's legitimate, and then we could sell it in Italy for millions, and I'll break you off a cut of it. All you have to do is accept the art into your museum, and then you can play dumb after and just be like, I didn't know it was fake. I'm just a dumb.
So in a weird way,
and
it's
then
like
we get
being
away with it. Millions.
So in a weird way, it's like
I'm just saying.
So you're
That's what I do.
trying. So you're trying to put it in the scenario of taking a chance because it or being like a drug mule, or taking a chance because it could benefit you. It's
Well,
harmless.
right.
It's not a big deal.
Because if these
I think
criminals,
he for sure knew.
Yeah.
Well, I'm putting a theory saying if these criminals came to me and said, "Hey,
Well, it's
all you have to do is this is not really a crime being stupid." So you could say
Claim ignorance.
just turn a blind eye to it.
So all you have to do is accept our art pieces in here, and then
that's acceptable.
Then
to me
we'll
as a theory,
pay you in Bitcoin once we sell this, and then there's no trace, whatever it is.
That's acceptable to me as a theory.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, though, is that his actions have proven otherwise. Like, he does seem guilty. Moving out, not making real tone-deaf responses.
And it's his job to vet it. I mean,
Yeah,
he failed
and
at his
again,
job.
that's a big risk because the thing is, I think one of the big pictures of this is how not to commit a crime 101. These guys. That once you peel back the onion, it's really, it's like, where's the mess at? It's only the carpet. I can see it. There's a really poorly produced crime. And these guys are the two main guys, Leo Mangan and William Forrest, are lifelong losers. They pull a scam, get caught, spend the money going to court and staying out of jail or going to jail. And it's like, you want to go to Aaron DeGraaf, like, dude, you want to be like these guys? These guys are, this is the losing team.
Can he fix it now, or is
these
that
are bench warmers.
Does he have to go in a different? He has to go in a different direction now.
I
right?
would imagine there is some speculation that he'll find a job, but that's another part of the rub too. I don't know if the Weekly came out with a follow-up article yesterday. And there's a lot of question about accountability. Sam Flax had written about it, and Escamani had commented, Terry Olson's commented on it, and they're really pointed, good remarks. But it makes you wonder, like, who got passed over for this guy to get this job? What other projects were passed over for this ruse? They could have been, or money could have been spent into something that would have been a real blockbuster. Or what? Do you guys know Son Brooks, Swanberger?
Oh, yeah, Swanberger. Yeah, for sure.
He wrote a really interesting reply, and he talked about the authenticity part of it, and that the night of the opening was crazy wild. And
in a good way, right?
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
So the message is, look, the people are more than ready for kind of edgier, more topical, newer work that kind of speaks to the people rather than this kind of stuffy stuff that the museum has kind of been known for. Because as Sam Flax said, the museum's struggled to be great. It has moments, but if you have talent and ambition, you generally don't seem to have a long career there. If you're kind of stuck on a flight pattern, you can work there 30, 40 years and do nothing.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I think that's with a lot of places, like the people that are really good, past maybe this particular job is like they go on beyond it, or just stay there for a short period of time and move on. And then although it's not like we're like a tiny little podunk city that
no,
you know what I'm saying. That's a shame part. It's like this should be a sought after job for people within this industry to do, like to be the director of the Orlando Art Museum. Like that's a big deal to me.
It carries weight to me.
It's
it
that's
does.
a small minor town in West Virginia that no one has even heard of.
Sounds
Orlando,
prestigious.
Florida.
And that's where he came from, Virginia. His previous gig was Virginia.
Oh, that's funny.
No.
Yeah.
All my relatives are from
Virginia stinks.
Yeah, it's the real South. I mean, it's different than Florida.
There should have been a song written about
And
it.
again, I feel like the powers that be are kind of podunk, but the population's not. They haven't grown with the population at hand.
I agree.
I think they're like, we're going to bring in some of the graffiti art. Yeah, that's kind of happened 20 years ago. What else you got?
Well, it's the
that was
same
a
thing
trump card.
we've talked about with Brendan O'Connor about how downtown Orlando is so not
it's backwards.
hip.
Yeah.
Like everybody goes to Sanford to hang out because
everything
there's more
around
fun
it is
things
great.
to do.
Yeah, like Winter Garden's got it
They
going
just
on.
don't.
You know
what? All the little suburbs of Orlando, other than downtown, are killing it.
Yeah.
East Orlando for that Pan Latin vibe is one of my favorite places.
I mean, there's so many different places, but downtown has sort of lost its way a little bit, and I think it will get back there, but right now I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, just from the marketing of the theme parks, Orlando has got to be like the top, 100th or like in the top 100 most famous cities in the world that people recognize just by name.
Yeah, because of Disney, yeah.
So just off of that, we should have a more respect for ourselves and be bigger just because, like, we're recognized by the world. Yeah. Our city is recognized by the world.
Well, not for art, though.
Well, Tom, who are you speaking to? You speaking to the powers that be?
Well,
because that... Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that we always make fun of ourselves, and we're good at that, and like to make fun of Orlando as being like a small town or whatever. But
we're a famous town.
We're a gigantically famous town that brings in a lot of people from a lot of different places. People. And I know it's for the parks, and that's always been the stereotype is Orlando, Disney World, or whatever. But you could parlay that fame and into your city alone and make it bigger and like more popular. popular, and like with all that marketing for Orlando, you would think that we could get it together more. I know this is a small part.
You want to hear something kind of an aside that you'll laugh about? You may not laugh about it, but it was funny. My daughter was at a camp at the museum.
I used to go to those when I was a kid.
During this time, and she said, those. I was like, hey, are the I had to dumb it down for May,
the
but
FBI's holding her like Elian Gonzalez.
No, but I think Andrea asked Maisie about it, and Andrea was like, hey, did you guys get to go in the because they get to go in and check out the exhibits. It's really cool if you get to go there as a camp.
Oh, yeah.
Not only do you get to camp, but you get to go in and check out the cool stuff. And they had gone through the Basquiat they had gone through there. And then we asked her about it, and she's like, yeah, it's gone. And then we just kind of laughed. We're like, yeah, it is gone.
That's one of the reasons why I think I'm so personally involved in this, because I was a camp kid. My grandmother
I love that place.
would pay for these classes for me to go there as a kid.
It bums me out that this happened because I support them.
Because I
support them with my wallet, too.
Yeah.
I'm putting money into that place, and they can do better.
Well, you know what I think this is? Okay, talking about we're a popular city. First off, I think you would probably see this in a lot of, again, the powers that be. They're kind of in a little bubble, provincial mindset, we should say. That I don't know if they're aware of the 1 million new people that live here since the pandemic.
Right.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of taste. That's a lot of new Tom and Dan listeners. That's a lot of new museums.
A million.
Million. Those are new car owners. And I think that's not. I think it really shows a lot of growing pains. I'm not saying to overthrow everything, but I definitely think that it's time for the powers that be need to change. And if new ideas are coming in that you don't like or are upset about, well then, sayonara.
Yeah. Who's in charge now, and where do they go, and what do they put something in there immediately? Do they have something to go to?
That I don't know. The website's been completely scrubbed of anything with their Groff's involvement, the Basquiat exhibit, anything with the upcoming shows that he brought with him, the Pollock, which was said to be a forgery, and it's a board member is in charge now, and I got the night of the firing, the day after, I got some intel from some people, and that was about it. I've been told that they have a PR firm now, kind of directing any outward communication.
It's probably smart.
Yeah,
you're not going to get any pompous emails if you have somebody scrubbing those things and making sure you're using your best practices.
And even their damage control is contradicting, because it's like, well, this is the same person that was in support and kind of defiant, and now all of a sudden you're apologizing. Well, which is it?
Right.
But again, I think this is a growing pains thing. I think I went to an art thing last night at the Alfond. It was like 85 people to do a walking tour of their art collection. And it obviously started in the bar.
That's a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking there's a great opportunity for stuff to do and raise the bar. Take the example. Okay, well, if we can get away with Basquiat, we can get away with actually probably really doing a real Banksy show, or someone like Kara Walker, or something even more wilder like, I don't know, like the kind of stuff you see on Vice.
Right. Like just crazy stuff.
Hey, Kyle, can you teach me how to be more classy?
Whoa, that was a left turn.
As you're talking,
you were just staring at him.
You were staring at his
this
pocket
guy's
square.
classy.
You were staring at his pocket square, the where he carries himself.
And often I find
look
myself.
Look at the posture of his body right now.
Yeah. I look at
how
myself.
awkward you look.
Exactly. I look at myself. I'm like, God damn, I'm white trash. I'm like this. I'm like, the things I'm doing are trash. And I'm like, how can I change? I want to be fancy.
You look like any Florida man waiting at a pain management clinic. That's what you look like.
You have to go to like one of those Advent Health ones. Those are the ones you see. Those types.
Yeah. You look like the guy.
I feel
comfortable.
like the guy,
you know what you look like? A guy at a pain management clinic that can't wait in the waiting room because he's so addicted to cigarettes. He has to say, "Hey, I'll be in my truck out here smoking. Can you come and get me?"
I've seen.
Yes, they can't even wait in there because they need a cigarette so bad. They're like, "Can you go get me?"
But Kyle, I want to be fancy.
I don't start with the hair.
I don't want to be trash because I'm mad. Like I
don't want to be trash, Daddy.
Sometimes I'm forced to go to Walmart.
I love Walmart.
Forced.
The discount rack.
I love Walmart.
You can always find good stuff.
And then I'm
always in Walmart.
I'm in Walmart. I'm like, God damn, this place
Let me
stinks.
take you to Walmart.
I'm like, I don't want to be around these people. And like
you are those people.
I know because I'm like, I'm here. I want to be in an art exhibit, dressed in a suit.
You look pretty good, Tom. You look like you cleaned up pretty nice. You have
yeah.
all your teeth. Your hair's combed. You got a job.
Yeah.
You know?
But the thing is, when I put on a suit,
He's in flip flops, Kyle.
like Kyle, when
and his feet.
I'm like,
what?
what? This guy's dressed in a
cracked
Halloween costume. Like that's what it looks like.
You do.
Like I look.
You're like, hey, where's your shears, Edward Scissorhands?
I look like I don't belong. It's more than that. I feel like Kyle puts off.
He's got the pocket square, the matching polo. He's got the good shoes with the matching socks. He's got his glasses in a
got
case.
style.
He's got a
I'm
messenger
also,
bag.
I got a few things to do after this too.
But look at he looks good.
I have to be kind of presentable.
Yeah, he's done, like look at me. I'm wearing joggers. I'm wearing a
I
free
know.
T-shirt and a free baseball hat.
and it has nothing to do with
I don't
money,
have on underwear either.
because
I don't have an underwear.
You can give me millions of dollars. I'll
do
still
I.
be white trash. Like I'll be a white trash millionaire. And then I see people. I'm like,
Wait, hold on. You can't be saying White Trash Millionaire because that's the name of a Kid Rock album. That's what
That's what I'm saying. And then it's like, well, this guy's trash, and he's rich and famous.
You're
and he's trash
Orlando's
too.
Kid Rock.
Oh wow.
And then I'm like, is it just ingrained and you can't get it out? Like,
You know what?
I can't get the trash out.
You, sir,
You're
you're Skid Rock.
You're slightly less
Skid
trashy
Rock.
than you used to be.
But that money did that.
Did you ever have a mullet?
No,
No, but he had a
He had a-
stooge.
I would have a
He had
mullet.
a haircut.
He had a muffalata.
He had a muffalata. His hair, it looked like Lego hair.
When-
like
Oh,
you
wow.
could pop it.
When you're white
pop it
trash
on.
and from Miami, you get a fade.
What do you want? You want a two on it? You want a two on the sides?
Yeah.
I want a two on the sides.
Anyway, I feel like
You also have
is
to
it
wear
just-
closed-toe shoes. Pants
Yeah,
help. Pants
yeah,
help.
yeah, yeah,
You could start with
I feel like
socks.
it's hot being classy.
Yeah.
Write that down. Write down the top.
You know how hot it is outside? He's got a blazer on.
I know,
Yeah.
but that's
Well,
why I can't even
I
walk.
took a hat off in the car.
Oh, okay. Do you hang
Yeah.
it?
No, I had it in my back seat.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
like-
Actually,
wanna-
when I got out of my car, I closed the door. I go, God, my car is like a homeless person lives in it right now.
Oh, really?
I have so much stuff in
Well,
it.
you're a
That's
detective.
the
He's
thing.
an art detective. He's
So-
trying to, I got a hot
his
tip over here. Somebody's got some fake baskets.
So he looks put together, but his car is trashy.
Yeah.
Oh
But-
yeah,
but that's-
my
But
office is definitely
all
cluttered.
of Tom's trashy.
Oh yeah, my
the
office
truck is a
it's
mess.
Hold on,
Your truck has
I
got
got a new truck,
goldfish
basically.
and banana peels in it. It stinks
Yeah,
inside.
yeah.
There's sushi wrapper.
Yeah, I know.
You know what? You know what? Last night when I was thinking, what am I going to wear tomorrow? I watched a Twilight Zone episode. Rod Serling, baby.
He looked good.
Rod Serling, Miles Davis, Robert
Yeah.
Palmer, always good choices. What should I wear?
You wear a suit.
Whatever Palmer or.
You know what?
Miles Davis.
When do you dress like we dress? When do you wear shorts and
Casual,
a t-shirt?
yeah.
Around
When's the last time you wore a t-shirt?
You should see me when I go swimming because I usually go shopping afterwards
Well, you're
in wet trunks. Oh, I'll have my towel around. I don't walk
Are
in the
you
store
a
with a towel.
stay in
on.
your trunks?
That's
man?
weird.
I'm
That's
a-
insane.
I stay in my
Oh, when
trunks.
you go swimming and then you put a towel around yourself, still wet, and
And
you
it goes
go
to Millennium
shop-
Mall.
you go to
Yeah,
Millennium
my
Mall.
hair's all spazzed
Well,
out
that's
from being
insane.
wet.
Well, hold on.
He's had us fooled.
Oh yeah, get cat food
Yeah,
or
he's at
get gas.
Target, no shirt on.
Yeah, you're
Well, I
getting
got
An
a shirt.
Italian horn.
I've got a,
long and one basketball trunks.
if you're wearing the Italian horn, that is considered a shirt.
Yeah, he's dripping all the way through Publix.
You know what? I think being classy is internal, and I'll explain. Is because I gravitate towards trashy things. Like my
You're
first,
trashy, I'm classy.
my first go-to is trash usually, and if you're like, what do you want? I'm like, bologna. That's what I'm saying.
Wait, for anything? What am I? Why am I?
I'm just saying, like, yeah, you want this bologna cheese? Yes, I know. I'm like, oh, delicious. Like, I feel like
So, like, if I
Kyle
walked in here and I
want
knew
some
you were
caviar.
if
It's
I-
in your DNA.
If I knew you were thirsty, you're saying that you'd be like, "Who's got a Capri Sun?"
Okay, every time I'm put into a rich scenario,
You want? You want?
You have imposter syndrome.
well, no, because I've gone. Okay, I went.
What do you mean a rich scenario?
Yeah, what does
Okay.
your rich scenario include?
I went to a wedding
As
one
this
time.
show continues, the biggest thing our listeners are going to figure out is that I was not crazy the entire time. For the last 10 years, I have been gaslit to
Yeah.
think that I'm nuts. Meanwhile, across the table from me is the craziest human in the world. Continue.
When I went to a wedding one time, and it was at what's that fancy ass
Monkey Joe's.
No, I know what you're talking about, that Tampa hotel.
No, and it was in Miami. It's
Oh,
old old hotel.
The Art Deco one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
Casa de whatever the F.
the chat room will know. But it's a super fancy hotel in Miami. Fancy ass wedding. You know, that kind of thing.
Is that the one where you went with the brunch, the expensive ass brunch?
So I go to the brunch and I'm sitting there trying to be fancy and
brunch, I have crab legs.
I'm around a bunch of rich people, and then they told me it was $110 a person. And it almost blew my GD sandals off.
He texted me from the brunch. He was so incensed.
Yeah, I was just like, no! I was like, I wasn't prepared to spend $220 and a tip. It's like,
He starts stuffing his pockets with crab legs.
Sure, why not?
He's just trying to get his money's worth. He's stuffing his socks, his shoes.
So then once I'm already pot committed, Kyle, then I'm like, what? This is an insane brunch that they're putting on. It's like, I guess, renowned in Miami. You go to Biltmore. The Biltmore brunch. And so then I'm saying, and they got a seafood.
Oh, yeah. It's an
That's where the
extravaganza.
110 came from.
Yeah,
right there.
the caviar, crab leg, like this.
They got it all.
And all
Lobster
I can
tails,
stare at is
scallops, bacon wrapped scallops.
is the sausage and scrambled eggs. Because that's all I want. I am
that's what you
trash.
want.
Y'all got any of those mini boxes of cereal?
All I wanted to do was
It's
eat
cereal, sir.
as many
Cereal.
sausage links.
My dad used to call it
Fruit
cereal.
Loops, sausage links, and cheesy eggs, and I had to
Cheesy
gag.
eggs? What are you, a baby?
I was gagging down caviar. I was like, "This is disgusting."
What?
But only because I had to get the $110
He had to
worth
get his
out of
money
it.
worth. He
But
was
if it was up
texting
to
me.
me,
He
I
was,
just
I'm making my
sausage.
4th trip.
You were eating shellfish with,
This
with an
is
allergy?
insanity.
Get your money's
Because
worth.
I'm gravitated towards trash. I just want sausage.
Then just eat the trash.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I'm not meant to be fancy.
Well, you're
and I
never
can't-
going to be like Kyle.
Yeah.
Here-
That's
here's
what I
here's a
mean. I
question
can't
for you.
learn.
If given the chance, pee outside, pee inside. Especially at night on a cool night.
Well, okay.
Oh, he's a pee out.
yeah,
Hold on
yeah.
a second. I don't. You know what? I may not know this one. I was going to say you pee outside.
Yeah.
But you're also very weird about doing those sort of
Bathroom,
things and
yeah.
showing your body
Oh.
off.
No,
Or your
Yes.
backyard.
In my
I will
backyard,
pee
yes.
He has
outside.
body
Yeah.
dysmorphia.
I'll walk to my backyard before I walk inside for sure. I mean, I just go.
You know
in
what
the
I did
corner.
the other night?
I prefer
I
to pee outside, if given the chance.
I stood on the. I have
nice.
I have one of those Vitabath tubs. But it doesn't have the jets in it. I don't know why it's Vitabath brand, but they didn't put the jets in it. I'm like, well, that's pointless. I stood on the edge of that and I peed in the sink last night.
Yeah. That's usually a tall man's move. I feel like you're.
Well, I stood on the edge.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I could, if I were to, I'd have to shoot it up.
Another thing, Kyle. Anytime me and Daniel come upon some money in any way,
We blow it.
Well, our go-to
Jet
is
skis.
jet skis.
Yeah, I know, yeah, he
And
knew.
we tell our accountant. We tell anytime someone says like, "Oh, you got extra $5,000
Yeah.
with this,"
Nope.
we're like jet
Two
skis.
jet skis. Yeah.
we talk about liquidating our 401ks. We always go to jet skis, Kyle.
It is a jet
It's
ski
our-
scenario.
and
Most of the
nothing
time.
else.
Do you guys have jet skis?
No.
We
It's a
want 'em.
fantasy.
We
Have you ever
want
been
'em.
on one before?
Hey, look! If I had cheated the
They're not even that
museum,
fun.
if I had cheated the museum or lied to them in some way, and I was on the lam or leaving, with my reputation, I would probably be leaving Orlando on a jet ski.
Maybe that's where you can find Aaron living
Yeah.
on a jet ski.
Living on a jet
Just
ski
going around
life.
Lake Baldwin.
But I feel-
Hashtag jet ski life.
But that's what trash people think. But that's what the trash people fantasize
Yeah.
about is jet skis. Even though we know they're not that fun,
They're
we've
not.
been on the jet skis, and
They're not that great,
But it's the epitome of the most fancy thing we could buy, which is trash. So
it's
I feel
a
like Kyle.
water motorcycle.
Yeah. And also another thing is appreciating art. I feel like Kyle, you can appreciate art, and I have the capacity.
You don't appreciate anything.
I went to the Louvre one time in Paris.
Did it make a move?
And is
Make
that
a
the-
move at the
is
Louvre.
that
It's like you're spending a lot of money on things you hate.
Well, that's his wife. Like she takes him all these trips and makes him do all this stuff, and
Is that
he
the
is
gla-
miserable.
is
He's
that the-
not fulfilled.
The glass pyramid one, which is is that the Louvre? I think it is.
Yeah, you've been. This guy's been.
I didn't go. You went. You
He's
tell
been to
me.
the
I don't
Sydney
know.
Opera House. He's been to the Louvre.
Oh, you been to the Sydney Opera Opera House?
No.
Oh, I thought you had.
No, but
Oh wait, she's
Yeah, it
been
is
to
the
she's
Louvre.
been to the Taj Mahal. She's been to everything.
yeah. Well,
They travel.
her mom's a
Nice.
flight attendant. That's the
Oh.
that's white trash fancy. It's a buddy pass fancy. But I go into Louvre and there's
Buddy pass fancy.
and they're showing me all this artwork that is, insane. You
saw the Mona Lisa,
priceless,
right?
yeah, Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
But the Mona Lisa, everybody
Not that
says that it's not
impressive.
that impressive
Yeah.
because it's
Tiny.
small, whatever. But I'm talking about other things that are like gigantic paintings or whatever. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, wow. Like the big ones, I'm like, wow, they're big. It must have taken a long time to paint. That's impressive to me.
I
don't understand.
I like those grandiose paintings where it's like a battle scene and there's
Oh,
like
sure.
people fighting and there's usually some fat guy naked and they're stabbing him
tiny-
and he's got his whole guts. He's
Yeah.
drawn and quartered, but he is
graphic.
naked and his ween is out. And I'm
And it's a
like, if
tiny
you're gonna-
elevator
I'm
button.
like, did they strip him nude or did he run into battle naked?
See, I can't appreciate that. And then other people are looking at it like they're seeing something I'm not. I'm just looking at it. I'm like, well, I've seen Toy Story. That seems more impressive.
Hey, that's an art.
You're just supposed to
Animation.
look at him
Yeah,
and
but-
like, yes, excellent, yes.
Yeah, but I'm like, what are you looking at? What are you looking at? The
Yeah.
brush strokes? Are you looking at what? I don't
You know
see
what?
it.
I just play a game where they go, I'll count the cherubs. 1, 2, 3, 4,
So
5.
see, that's what I
Count the
don't.
cherubs.
And I think that takes some sort of genetic fanciness that I don't have. I think it is. I just.
Where do we go now, Kyle? The Orlando. How do we?
I don't know where to say thank you or what.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah.
It's another thing. I forgot to tell you.
So where do we go from here? So we got a board member in charge. I guess, and they'll continue, or they're hopefully.
Yeah, they're gonna have to find a new. It's a build over, and I'm kind of writing a little op-ed myself that I don't know if it's gonna publish or not. To kind of go with the one from yesterday. If you check it out, OrlandoWeekly.com. Alex Galbraith and Jessica and Matt and I contributed to it. It's a great article, but I kind of had this thing about, well, they have to start from blank. And that's a good thing. If you really kind of screw up, start over. But I feel like, just like Hassan had said in a response to this that he wrote to me, that maybe get back down to the people. Do some stuff that's more interesting. Like, you've got these great, like the Camp Kids programs is great.
Yeah,
Go with stuff like, like...
See, that's the part that stinks is I will say that Maisie absolutely adored and loved her camp. Nothing but awesome from me and Andrea's perspective as parents about the people there, the staffing, how kind they were, how it's organized. Top tier. Amazing.
Now, did you hear about the museum in Baltimore that had the guards do a show? Okay, this was a brilliant
That is a really good idea.
concept. So, I think one of the upper management at this museum in Baltimore, I can't remember the name for some reason, but would spend their lunch hour talking to some of the guards and getting their input on the works. And they had fascinating takes on them because they're sitting around them all day looking
Yeah.
at them.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they know.
And they let the guards curate an exhibit. It made national, international news. It had great turnouts. But it was like, here's a person who may never, ever have been maybe they work for a security company. They're like, okay, tonight you're going to be at the so-and-so. Tonight you're going to be here. You have to be at the museum. That's where you're assigned to. And maybe that kind of changes your life. You see something that you relate to. Could be a painting from the Renaissance era, something super modern, something you don't understand. These people might go home and Google this stuff and be like, hey, that painting I look at all day, I look up this guy's life story. It's quite fascinating. And I thought, not to say the museum, Orlando Museum should copy that idea, but stuff like that maybe kind of, probably not that expensive to produce. It has big resonance. And, and one of the other questions I think is that hasn't been answered is, like, talk about, cheap to produce. How much money was spent on this debacle? And how much of it came from taxpayers?
Yeah.
Did anyone profit off of it? The merchandising. And the merchandising
For sure.
came from here.
yeah.
Well,
I'm not
that-
going to say the name off the bat, but they're known for doing tchotchkes and swag.
Sure.
Uh-oh, that was not the one.
Yeah, I hope it's not where we go.
Because
It's a good company to do
we
quality
know
stuff, but
tchotchkes and we know swag.
Yeah, we know a lot.
I'm
They call it-
Chutskis.
Yeah, I was gonna take that one. I'll be. You know what? I appreciate you taking
So,
that.
well, Kyle, I'm glad you brought that up because, like, what about the other people that work there? They what?
Oh,
like, I
so
would be like,
embarrassing.
well, hold on. Didn't you know? Like it wasn't just one guy. Because, for instance, I thought about this when the FBI finally kicks down our door and then drags me away, and then starts taking all our.
Well, I run for the bathroom. And you know what? Believe it or not, I flush myself down the toilet like drugs. It's hard to do, but I've only done it once.
You know, I thought about doing that. Like, thinking, should I hire a couple of goons, like, in the middle of this to drag us all away? FBI on
but
air.
then see, you're fabricating things, and then we're just like him. And we're just like him.
But my point being, when they drag me away and they start taking all the files and filing cabinets,
well, there's only one file cabinet. I'll help them carry it out.
Daniel and Samantha, I mean, they knew kind of what was going on.
No.
Like, they were complicit, at least.
No.
They kind of had
the
an
only
idea.
person you talk to is Sam, and that's when I'm gone.
They heard me on the phone with making shady business deals. They heard me freaking out about some
I'll
money.
say you threatened me.
Okay, I'll share something mildly embarrassing.
So
in
it's
front
their
of
fault,
Kyle.
kind of, too.
I'll
They
say blackmailed me.
I'm going to share something that's related, unrelated, mildly embarrassing with Kyle here that I've heard. Maybe Sam has heard it. The last 2 weeks.
No.
Every day, Tom will be at his desk. It's quiet. Sam's at her desk quiet. Tom's at his desk quiet. I'm at my desk quiet. Type in, we're all kind of doing our thing. His phone will ring. It'll be his wife. He'll go, hello? And then he'll go, hey, babe. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, bye. Every day she calls you and yells at you for one thing. You say you're sorry and hang up. Every day you've done that. Every day I've heard it.
That's the,
she calls, she
that's the
wakes
10 a.m.
up.
I'm sorry.
It's the 10 a.m. I'm sorry. You wake up and you get a call. You say you're sorry for screwing something up. And she hangs up on you every day.
Every day at
the same time.
Yeah. I've made a lot of...
And it makes me laugh. I laugh. And I shouldn't laugh at that. But it's funny to me.
Well, the repetition of it's funny.
It's so great.
I microdose mistakes throughout the day, throughout all day.
I microdose mistakes. That's a title for
That's a
something.
t-shirt.
Just write the stuff down. Yeah.
And then there's something, and then they compile up, and then it finally breaks.
Boils over,
Yeah. And then my wife's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry."
I'm sorry. You say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And
then it's, how's the boys?
But then she's got to go because she's busy, and you'll be like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
I don't know how busy she is. She calls Tom 50 times a day.
Yeah, with a lot of mistakes.
Gotcha.
You don't know what he's doing.
So, Kyle, are you going to do a follow-up? I know you wrote a story about this. Is there going to be a follow-up?
Well, one came out yesterday
Okay.
that was, Jessica Bresson, Matt Moyer, Alex Galbraith, and I all kind of contributed to it. I'd like to hear, like Sam Flack said in his letter, hear more from a lot of people from the community more. I'm glad Terry Olson made a remark. I'm glad Ann Escamani made a remark. I've got Swanberger's remark. I reached out to several artists in the current exhibit. Haven't gotten any replies back. They also, too, may be advised as per the PR for not to say anything.
Don't touch it. Yeah.
A few other artists have been involved. I don't. But I don't think this is the death knell. I think this is
I think it's a good thing.
put up the border. Pardon our dust as
Yeah.
we remodel, but by all means, go to Snap, go to Manello, go to Rollins, Cornell, go to Morse, City Arts. Come in the Tom and Dan studio and see this fine work of art.
I love
you guys like. Are we talking about? Look at this.
That's a beautiful piece. That's how gods used to wrestle over domination.
But you guys definitely have an aesthetic appeal. I mean, look at this. This office is cool looking.
Well, we
No,
only branded this out so we get big name comedians to sit on our couch.
And now they don't come in.
And now they don't come in.
Did you guys have a hand in this? You hired a designer? And
Oh yeah, we
Well,
have a branding agency. Yeah.
TheDangerBrain.com. We've worked with them. They're the artists.
The Danger Brands are the artists,
And they had to convince me to do this, by the way.
Yeah.
At first, I resisted heavily.
Yeah, you
and
did.
drunk.
Did you guys have any input on this?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Because those are great images. I mean, you see your stickers all over town.
And
You in the Orlando Pride, the soccer team.
yeah, Orlando.
Are the most common stickers you see in the back of the car.
We stole their marketing ideas.
We did. Yeah, we did.
Well, we worked within the organization of Orlando City, and we saw what they were doing,
fine.
and they were like, "Do what they are
Gave
doing."
them magnets.
You know what? Like people, the NFL coaches do this all the time. They just steal each other's ideas,
Yeah.
and there's steal good ideas.
Did we get the Magic to steal a good idea?
I know. Yeah.
We
I
had
know,
Paul
right?
Westhead as our coaching staff at one point.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The guy from the running gun, Pat Riley years.
Yeah.
The Lakers. He was one of our coaches. And how come? And it wasn't one of the good years. Like, how did this happen?
Well, we've had a lot of great players pass through the halls of the Orlando Magic, right? We had Steve Kerr play first for one season.
I feel like that's another part of growing pains. Like all these again, powers that be that own them are the Amway schmucks.
Right.
You know, those nincompoops.
Wasn't there one guy that was like getting coke on the?
Oh, and he called Dwight Howard the voicemail messages. Yeah, that was a great. That was
good
wonderful
stuff.
time.
What happened to Dwight Howard?
Well,
there
this was. I mean, more than 10 years ago.
more than 10 years ago. There was some higher up with the Magic who like got it sounded like he was inebriated and like was calling up Dwight Howard and leaving like a voicemail message, and then they got a hold of it and then they played it, and it was just like he sounded. A little.
And then there was like
happy.
rumors that he was getting stuff delivered on the like literally during a game, like courtside, where you're sitting there and there's
Courtside.
That's just a bunch of
owner
embarrassment.
There's no one there to see the action happen because the fans don't come out for the game.
It was bad stuff, but for those of us in the media, when we would see it, it's good.
It must suck becoming stinking rich and then realizing you're like, I've ruined my kids.
I love to be stinking rich. And things
Start
I could do.
over. I need a new family.
Yeah, because you got stinking rich and you're so busy getting rich and the money ruined.
Well, that's
your
why you get
kids.
a second family and you have a younger wife.
You need the second family
with new kids because those older kids. I mean, they're okay, but they're your old kids.
But they're spoiled. You ruin them. You're too rich.
Start over with the new
Second
kid.
family.
And then it cancels them out because if you get two good kids with the new young wife and you got two spoiled, ruined kids with the old wife. Then you get offset equals 0, and then you're good in heaven.
Knows.
You go to heaven.
Remember that guy Charles Corral on the road Sunday morning?
Yeah.
That guy had 2 families. And why not get it? Well,
Oh, you're right. He did.
Pre-internet age. Where
Yeah.
you think like, that's my daddy. No, that's my daddy. Like, famous guy on TV every week. You got 2 different families. They had to have known about each other.
We should give more credit to the people that have 2 secret
Yes.
families.
You know what?
Families.
Today-
That's hard to pull
That's a
off.
skill.
That's
Today,
hard,
Tom
man.
and Dan, we salute those of you that are living double life.
Yeah, well, everybody always calls
We
them
salute
monsters, but I'm like, at least give them credit for the amount of effort it took to do this.
Well,
why-
wait a
I
minute.
can barely do one.
Why are they monsters? They don't have to be monsters. They're only monsters to one set of family.
You're right.
Yeah.
The other family, they're angel
Yeah,
on
you
Earth.
go back and forth. Yeah.
All right, Kyle. Thanks for coming
Hey,
in.
thanks for having me.
We
I
appreciate it. Go check out the articles. Go read those. Do your
Orlando.
stuff. And where can people hear your show?
Right now I'm subbing on WUCF here and there. I've been on the air a lot this week. Show's still kind of working on some kinks and working on some new ideas. ArtsOrlandoWeekly.com. The new article's out now. It's cool, guys. Really appreciate you having me on. And
Anytime, man.
also, again, you guys did some good civic duty, all of you.
Nah,
Well, we
yeah,
appreciate
A lot of
that.
people talk
Hero.
about
I
it.
That's
wrote
what I
down
hear.
hero on my paper.
Nice.
Well,
I spelled G-Y-R-O.
I am wearing a full Marine outfit right now.
Nice.
People, you can't see me, but I am wearing. I was never in the military, but I'm wearing a full dress blues.
Without underwear, right?
Yeah, without underwear. Well, they're Mitt Romney. They're big.
Magic.
Yeah, magic underwear.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week.